This is FinTech Futures reporting from Finovate Spring, and I'm here with Madhu Narasimhan from Wells Fargo. How are you?
Hello, good to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. How have you been enjoying the conference so far?
It's been a fun conference and a lot of common themes that you're hearing across all of us. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So, just to quickly get started, we'd like to give an introduction to yourself and your role.
Sure. I'm the head of innovation at Wells Fargo, and in that position, I oversee a lot of the change initiatives that we need to do in order to get to the digital first bank of the future.
Excellent, excellent. And so you were here speaking today on a panel about how to achieve digital acceleration. And so what's your take on digital transformation trends across the industry at the moment?
Yeah, it was interesting. There were 4 of us panelists, and we spanned, an early, a neobank, a couple of larger banks, and then one of the tech providers. And, you hear a lot of the same themes. You hear a need to, change the banking infrastructure to become an integrated digital first bank. You hear a lot about understanding customer centricity and how do you focus on that. And then, you heard a lot about the use of data and organizing so that we can actually use the data. So a lot of trends in that space, and I think all of us spoke about similar journeys we're all on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Speaking of journeys, so how has Wells Fargo been looking to approach its own digital journey and so far?
Yeah, the whole digital transformation journey. So I think we're looking at it in a few aspects of things, and I'll speak to each one separately. I think from a digital infrastructure perspective, as we're moving, our workload to the cloud, we're really trying to figure out how do we make sure that, we're looking at moving the application infrastructure to the cloud, building a platform from a customer centricity perspective, and building more of like APIs and microservices instead of bespoke connections. So really, utilizing the cloud's scale and speed to harness the value of that. I think the second thing we're focusing on is the whole customer centricity, but in understanding our customers' needs, getting an outside-in perspective, and making sure that we are organizing ourselves, what they call the product operating model and the agile ways of working to kind of drive that customer perspective. And then the third thing we're doing is really looking at how we harvest, what we do with versus what is it that the fintechs do and that our partners in technology do, so that together we're able to, build that digital first bank with the mindset and the speed that we need to.
Yeah, excellent. And one of the bigger hurdles for bigger banks can be legacy systems. How can firms look to overcome the challenges there when it comes to transformation?
Yeah. So legacy is always interesting, right? It's what gets in the way. Mm-hmm. So I think first of all, from my perspective, you salute the legacy. It was there for a reason, and there was a value to it. And then after that, you really set up for the future. First of all, set purpose, understanding what is it that you're about. For us, it's all about putting the customer at the center of what we do. That's the North Star. And making sure we're listening to our customers, both the faint signals and the hard signals, in terms of what they want, what they might not know that they want, and how we can support that. So once you have that purpose really clear, then it becomes easier to build, a movement around it. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the first piece, set the purpose. And then the second aspect of it is make it easy. So, find people who are early adopters, find areas where you're seeing that digital transformation working. Use them as beacons for the rest of the organization. Say, here are the behaviors we're looking for. Here's the way we want to think about customer centricity. Here's how you harness the value of the technology and the power of the technology, and make that widely available. Because if people see how it works, it's much easier. So the second one is make it easy. And the third piece is, I think, stay in action for me. It's change is hard. Innovation is hard, and resilience is a big part of what we have to do. So stay in action and know that we're in it for the long run, and keep on supporting, your employees, your team, making sure they're able to adopt the behaviors and removing the blockers that kind of, build anti-patterns. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the way I think about, how do we convert people to become champions, and I focus on those 3 ways, and we're doing that as an organization.
Excellent. And so what do you take, what's your take, I guess, when it looks towards kind of working with fintechs? Well, do you think it should be more of a collaboration thing as opposed to a competition
thing? So, I think the banks and the fintechs working together are going to create some amazing experiences for customers. I think it's not a bank versus the fintech, but it's using the skill and the data of the banks with the nimbleness and innovation that fintechs naturally have to kind of drive that set of experiences. And we see that already. Like in our API platform, we have customer permission data sharing that we do, and so it's not like we don't know how to do it. And as that area grows, we will have to be thoughtful about what are the opportunities, and what might be some challenges that come with it. But for me, it's not a fintech versus a large bank. And we're actually doing this with purpose. So we have this innovation challenge that we've set out at Wells Fargo, and so we've identified a set of customer problems that we want to solve, and we actually put that challenge out to the community at large, to the startups and to our large technology partners, and said, help us solve them. Let's solve it together. And so we've had an amazing response. We're looking forward to having some really cool solutions. And one of the things I said is smaller startups really struggle when they work with large banks, because the friction of dealing with the administrative aspects will take away from speed. And so part of this is helping us work with them at speed in the way that they want, and actually building a product, getting stuff out the door. So as I said, I really do think that the fintechs and the banks together can together make the magical outcomes that I think we're looking for our customers.
Excellent. Sounds good. And just to wrap things up then, what technologies or digital use cases do you say are you kind of most excited by at the moment? Is there anything Wells Fargo kind of working on at the moment?
Yeah, sure. So we're clearly looking at many of the things that everyone's looking at, from AI, ML, like how do we use data in new ways? We already use it to do some of the work we do today, really understanding, customer needs and how do we look at credit decisioning. But now looking at AI, ML models to figure out how we do that faster, make it more hyper-personalized in context. So we're very excited about doing some work in that space. I think the second is clearly blockchain technologies. Like, that's a huge aspect of how, we can take out a lot of the friction from an operations perspective, especially in our payments area. So we're eagerly looking forward to that. And we're doing a few things. We did a bilateral settlement with HSBC on Baton. So that was one of the things that we've written now, and we have a couple more that are going out. So very excited about that. And then really understanding how do we use edge and hybrid computing and quantum computing. There's a tremendous amount of value there. So what new models might come up out of that? So that's more in the exploration space, but really looking at that as well. So that's probably the areas I'm very interested about right now.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me, Madhu. It's been great speaking with you.
Likewise, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.